Alrighty, here we go. This is my very first stream on Twitch. Right now we're going to be playing some Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This is the second game to the very first one. Let me see what we got going on here. Give me 1 second, just finishing up some things. And there's my pretty face right there. Hi everyone, welcome. So as you can see right here, I am currently playing some Great Ace Attorney 2. I'm going to be playing the third case over again. I've already beaten that case already, but right now what I really want to do is just start over again because I stopped in the middle of that case and I forgot a lot of the details. So rather than just going in the middle and forgetting things, I'd rather start from the beginning and then go through again. Plus it would give me some time to get some of my voices back in. So let's get that started. Alrighty. Here it is, The Great Departed Soul. The one thing that I really like about this case is that there was a lot of diverse characters, there were a lot of different voices. Some of them were very eccentric. That's why I really want to do it. So we're going to start at the very beginning, and let's start from there.
The grand end of the century Great Exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the crystal tower itself, brought the truth to light.
If you hear that, that's my dog. He just walked in the middle of that.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people.
Give me 1 quick second. Let me just close my door. One of the big things that I liked about both of these games is the character of Herlock Sholmes, not the other name. That's very much copyright. We're not going to mention that one. I really like his character because he does have those little bits of, what's the word? Eccentricity. But deep down you know that he's really smart because that's who Herlock is. He really much knows how to know when it's time to fool around and when it's time to be serious and actually go through with and help people.
The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies.
That's an actually interesting shot right there.
And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
That's a lot of words, and yes, that will haunt me later on when we get to we have to say that.
man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high-voltage electricity and beamed to another location, whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before. In but
I
a
love
few
Albert.
moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air, to arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you! This one! Yes! Woo! Yes! Please! That's not what I wanted!
It was at that moment he knew. He fucked up.
Bruno, are you listening?
Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris?
What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast?
Iris is honestly one of my favorite characters. Not because she's she's a cute little girl. It's just like the fact that she's just so bright and she's really much like mature for her age really shows that it's kind of sad that she had to grow up that fast, but at the same time she knows how to adapt to a situation where there is almost no obvious answer, which is honestly a really great character trait I like about her. No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again?
Today's paper. It's full of news about the Great Exhibition again.
Yes. The Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime.
You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley?
Oh no, not this, Sholmes. Did you say something, Iris?
Oh gosh, you're even more down.
Where did you arrive, Miss Naruto? I've been here for about a half an hour already. We had breakfast together? What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here. You know, because... breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim, so much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well within some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced therefore that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Thanks again. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now.
6 months?
Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh, well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley?
Speaking of glum. Did you say something, Iris? Back to moping. I love these designs, they're so cute. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know, and the great exhibition has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together?
I want to, of course I do, but I can't, not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from. Is that it?
I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case early.
Yes, quite right. Were you saying something, Iris? I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Also, this design of Sholmes is honestly the best, because like, without the hat and the vest and everything, it just seeing him in this, I'm like, god damn it. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. Words fail. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court. Revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing.
You have, haven't you, Runo? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholmes' old cases.
Brewing Iris' special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Mr. Naruhodo. Next, rub my feet, then give me a bath, and then come sleep in my bed, I mean. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall.
Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could, and I can't do that just sitting around here. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching!
Oh, do you know what I like to do? I like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons.
Look down on? Do you mean those things fly?
Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. Now talk about hot hair. Let me talk about yours, Iris, because it is very pink, and we all know what red and pink mean. It is very, very hot. Yeah, so you might want to step away that fire, and please put down the gun. I can't understand it at all.
That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will be just common knowledge.
I suppose they might be.
Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it though. I love to see how bad some of those scam experiments really are. I want to see blood and guts everywhere.
Says the innocent 10-year-old girl. My point exactly. See here, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the great exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere.
The Great Exhibition newspaper has been entered into the court record.
Great Exhibition newspaper. A newspaper containing various articles about the world-leading science and technology on show at the Great Exhibition being held in London. Shadows cast behind. Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Let's see. Let's see what that is then. Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go to see it properly before too long. 10 pages of it. And there's Albert. He was really great when I was trying to... No, yeah. This man right here. Yep, he's gonna be a very fun character. I know in the future. He already is one of my favorites. Pretty much every one of my all these characters are favorites. It's just a shame that, like, what happened to his brother, though. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy looking one, that is. Wait, what?
What's the matter, Bruno?
The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zieks. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? Oh, lost cat. Oh no. Oh, where's the poor baby? I want to see the little baby. Oh no. It's always kind of sad seeing those things for lost animals. It is very sad when you see that because you know that's someone's family member. Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruto. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely, Early.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, usually. The more mysterious and complicated the cases, the better Early's mood.
Ah!
Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. That's like a lot of alliteration right there. Remember what I always say, put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes. Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. Ha. That was a deep sigh. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zieks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper at the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Beric Van Zieks. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. That was a horrifying end to Magnus McGilded. Like, it's one of the things. Would you rather be burned to death or drown? It's like either one of those is bad, but how can you pick? Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. Blunder's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sharp witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruto? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down, although it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. My goodness! Is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know?
Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow morning's edition.
Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then.
No, I can't wait till tomorrow!
In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know.
But who?
Lord Strongheart, perhaps? Aw, there goes Hot. Hot Sholmes. But I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off guard. Off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind. Now I'm wondering where you're going. Well then, see you later indeed. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out the door. I can only imagine he's like,
Alright then, Reno, let's get going.
Oh, Iris, what are you wearing?
I got changed to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then. Don't make me shoot you, Reno.
Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course, and after the Supreme Court, then we'll go to the Great Exhibition.
They are very eccentric roommates. Like, I don't know how they're able to live in this. Like look at this. How are they able to live in this kind of squalor? Especially this area, because Lord knows Mr. Sholmes can find anything in this place, because he very much lost his violin, mixed it up with a viola back at Windibanks, and then he somehow shot up this place. Lord knows how he did that. He has this machine that he cannot read, and he wants to create another machine to read that machine, but how can he make that machine to read it? But there's just a lot with him. And I mean, look at this. He has a pipe with his other beakers and everything. Wait, no, that's a beaker. Well, you know what I mean. Vials. Like, how does this man deal with anything? Then again, I am talking about myself too, so. Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Mrs. Sato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess.
Susie might not be able to stand mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves.
Oh? Why not?
Everything's in intricate balance. Ellie spends ages up on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down.
Ha!
Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the outset.
You make it sound like a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runo.
If I were to save up for 100 years, I wouldn't choose to buy a violin, personally.
Oh, what would you buy then?
I really have no idea. I think I'll have to do it so I can find out. Well, let's see if one of your descendants can live up to finally save it to get that. Maybe he can buy his own legal practice. I don't know. I do love a good fire in the colder months. Watching the flames flickering and dancing about is just so very relaxing.
Cleaning out the chimney isn't relaxing so though.
No, getting covered in soot isn't my idea of fun.
You know, Ellie decided he was going to clean it out himself last year. But you can guess what happened, can't you? He got himself stuck inside the flue.
He's a very slim man, I admit, but there are limits to where a fully grown man can fit.
Now, every time he does stuff by the fire, he has nightmares about it.
The Flue Network. All these different pieces of evidence from cases that Mr. Sholmes has solved are very interesting.
The trouble is, Hurley forgets things so quickly. He never remembers why these things are relevant. The other day, for example, he saw the orange pips that were there and decided to plant them in the garden.
Pips?
Yes, they've all sprouted now. We have 5 new little plants.
Oh, well, I don't know what case they were from, but if Mr. Sholmes can get oranges to grow outside in England, he should change his profession. Ah yes, the huge metal chest with the lace cloth laid on it, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut.
That chest contains my father's detailed records for Hurley's many cases.
Yes, so I've been led to believe, though personally, I've never actually seen inside.
And that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening it uninvited, you might find yourself getting bitten.
No. I just like picturing, like, when you biting it, it's like you're going for a little, like, the finger's like, no. Like Pac-Man almost. What? Is there a piece inside there or something? I don't know, Naruto. You might find yourself being surprised by how many things are in an English chest. I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day.
Ah, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice.
When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for a tea time.
Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy, and some make you feel tipsy. Today's particular blend is for something quite special, so you're really in for a treat.
That sounds ominous. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, guys. There it is. Sorry, my mic is in the way of my keyboard. I usually look down to find it. There are so many different bottles up there on that charming little set of white shelves.
Oh, do be careful, Reno. You mustn't try the content of any of those bottles, even if you're hungry.
I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know.
Well, I wish I could say the same for Hurley. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alkaloids.
What?
He said he was hungry.
I'll be extra careful then. Let's see.
I can type with my eyes shut, you know.
I can believe it. When a deadline's approaching, you seem like a Gatling gun.
That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me, actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
That's incredible.
But then, when it got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine. Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might have just fallen asleep on the job. Let's see. I think we examined everything in here. I think we're good to go. Alright, let's go to... Oh. Let's go upstairs real quick before going to the Chief Justice. Let's talk with Iris.
I'm so excited about the prospect of Naruhodo's Anything Consultancy of opening for business again.
That's not what it's called. It's Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. I've done a lot of studying in these past 6 months, reading law texts and judicial precedents. I'm sure I'm a better lawyer now. I can't wait to start practicing again.
Nothing's changing here at all, though, has it? It's as though time has stood still in here since Susie went back to Japan.
I wanted to keep it ready for Mr. Sato in case she wants to be able to return to Britain. Yeah, she wants to go back to Japan from Japan. I wanted to keep it ready for Mr. Sato in case she was able to return to Britain at any point. So I've just left everything the way it was.
Oh, I see. Right. And that was me thinking it was because of the you are Runo. You know, never bothering to tidy up, I mean.
Iris. This isn't the time or the place to bring up my tidiness. Or lack of it. Listen, I'm not being here to get called out, okay? It's been about 6 months now since I was last here, but some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place.
She's so cute.
Doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there.
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course, I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me. Oh boy. Commanding presence indeed. Oh, Lord Strongheart. I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you arrived in the precedent audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies. Oh no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to be bothering him at all. Mail Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As for the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority if others must wait for my attention as a result. So be it. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. So, you were thinking of something me. Please put the cane down, sir. Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens.
Here now, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
Oh boy. The courage to ask this man anything, even just like a simple favor, is like, it's like asking the teacher to go to the bathroom in middle school. It is so hard to do. I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. Mr. Naru Oda. Yes? Here it comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Cosmo. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Asoki was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged, what do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense. How does he know? Does he... Okay, the one thing I remember about Strongheart is that he at first said he didn't know anything about, or I think he brushed away the subject, that he didn't know what Kazuma was here for. But now that he's very specifically saying, like, do you know what the mission is? I don't know. Something about him is not adding up to me. I don't know what it is. Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean? As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful news. That's wonderful news for you now.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope.
Of course.
Please tell me more. You described it as a curious affair. Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no.
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see. How was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with the click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just what my elbow blends need. A dash of devil-may-care.
Whatever this serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odiasman, an investor and a well-known figure in society. A large explosion.
A man died?
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow on the charge of murder. What? Murder? Why do I always end up being charged with murder? Clients, can I just get like a petty crime for once? Like seriously? Is it too hard to get maybe someone who can just slap on the wrist? Or like a grandma just jaywalk, please? Isn't that too hard? If you intend to take on his defense, you should urge to meet with him at the prison. And if you'd give me some time, I'm going to take a quick break to let my dog out. One quick second, let me just go to the break screen. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's get back to the case. There's very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation. The Great Exhibition. A scientific experiment gone wrong. And murder? I feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still.
We should go to the prison straight away then, and try to meet with this German professor, don't you think?
Definitely. Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh, with Lord Van Zeeks? How? I shall have to ask him. All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly! Ah! London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Thank you, Mustang, for following. Welcome in. For those of you wondering, I am playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the third case. I'm gonna be in the third case. I've already played through this before. I know what happens already. I just want to start from the beginning because I forgot most of the details. Welcome into the chat. Which is what's known for as forensic science, isn't it? Oh, nope, that wasn't Strongheart, that was Ryunosuke. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? Exactly, the future of policing. Ah! Iris, you know Strongheart, calm down. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that's alarming. Exactly! This man, like, I don't know. Ugh. Watch, I'm just gonna go, again. Exactly, it's extremely alarming. What did I tell you? Thanks. Yeah, I actually, like, the thing Mustang about people with this game, a lot of them don't really not add voices, they don't actually say the lines, and it is boring. So I was like, okay, let me just have a little fun with it. Also, you will notice that the Japanese characters, I give them very normal voices, but then the British people, you'll notice, have very, very eccentric voices as well. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you could be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. Exactly, Mustang. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. Sorry? By the way, by way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now. Funny how this man literally has no time for me, but now that he's sorry, he wants to waste a lot of time. Like, I don't get it. What?
Oh, how fascinating.
It all began 15 years ago. I was... And that's the way Ryunosuke died. Bored to death. That more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission. I would. Oh, right, yes. That's wonderful. Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Look, she's even... Iris got bored to death with Strongheart. She kind of looks up to this man.
Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. Yeah, this man, he's very, very present. And I don't know if you caught him saying, but I did say, like, he seems like the type of person, like, it's very hard to ask him a favor. Like, kind of asking your teacher to go to the bathroom, like, elementary school, middle school, it is very, very hard to do that. And this man is that to the nth degree. Let's see, let us look around his little office again. The Lord Chief Justice's desk. When you look at that, there's no mistaking Lord Strongheart's authority, is there?
But the light from that window behind is far too bright. It would be very bad for the eyes.
I hadn't thought of that. There are no curtains, that's for sure. A dom top. Yep, definitely.
What's more important, having a desk with an air of authority or having eyes that work?
I can't say I'd ever consider it. After all, my little office barely has any light to speak of, and I haven't really seen my desk in a while. So basically, Ryunosuke's a mole rat, is what I'm getting. Or no, he's not a mole rat. He was the very first gamer or streamer in the history of ever. He didn't even need technology. He just did it all and wrote it down in a diary, and he sent it out to his friends. He was the very first streamer. Ryunosuke was the very first streamer, I guarantee you.
Oh, I just had a great idea.
What is it?
We could hide inside these suits of armor and spy on the Fob Watch Master to find out what he's really like.
I don't have much interest in what Lord Strongheart is really like, though.
Oh, please, it would be fun. You could be inside the left one and I'll go in the right.
You really want to have a go in a suit of armor, don't you?
Now you're making fun of me because I'm a child, aren't you?
I wasn't making fun of you at all. I like to have a go too. I don't know if he was intimidated by Iris or the fact that he was like also wanted to do it, but I don't know. Something about Ryunosuke having like those little moments of fun as well. It just shows that he's still very much not naive, but he's very much like living in the moment and when he's in Britain. You couldn't read all these books even if you were reincarnated 3 times over as a bookworm.
Oh, I know. So much reading material. I'm very envious. I've really been running out of things to read recently.
That's because you read so fast.
Perhaps little by little I could swap some of the books here with some of mine from home.
I don't see why not. No one would notice, or at least I wouldn't, even if I was reincarnated 3 times over as a librarian. Okay, I think we pretty much examined everything in this office, so let's go and go to the prison. Okay. Here comes one of my most eccentric voices I've ever done, even though I had the very first cutscene as reference. Oh boy. The warden said cell 11. That's this one.
Oh, there's someone cut up in a ball in the back corner. Look.
What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain? Who are you? I'm Ryuna's a lawyer! Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That demonstration was... That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity. Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while too. Yep, this is what you're gonna hear. You're gonna hear a lot of that when it comes to him. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he?
Ah! Yes, you can interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense. The experiment was a failure. At the same time, it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Asmus spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the crystal tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Asman in fact perished. Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is, the large explosion that killed Mr. Asman was an accident, correct?
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder.
I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished. At once. Punish me! So, he's a sub. But... Murder! Never in a million years! It was an accident! Simply an accident! I see.
Hurley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds?
Ah, yes. It's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
Can they have like shorter names, please? Because this is gonna mess with my brain. That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was...
Oh my god.
Then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to port over as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
Ah, I see now. Oh god, that was a lot. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday.
Yes, or rather, no. The devil's in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating! Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see. That's my amazing hypothesis.
Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science.
Oh, but dare to imagine it! Dare to dream of such incredible technology! Just think, one moment I could be here in this cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again!
Well, yes, that would be incredible.
And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Parisian Theatre, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach.
So, no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days.
I really don't see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel it had shrunk. My word, that's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean? That's got Professor Bunny Brain really worried about the look of it.
Bunny brain. Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose.
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it. Yes! Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science.
That's how I feel about schools with art.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman.
The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odiasman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man?
He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thank my lucky stars.
I see. So, you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. I do it for free and Hurley does nothing. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel.
Oh, really?
An archangel even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support from my research for the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with the money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then, your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought to have taken the man's life.
Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Alright, so we got everything we need from him. Let's see. Gotta go. Well, we could probably present him with something. I'm pretty sure it's here. Okay, let's go back. Let's present this to her. Iris, about this paper.
Oh yes, it's all about the Great Exhibition. I'm so excited about it. Once you've done what you need to do, we should all go together and explore.
I don't know. It sounds like it could be quite dangerous. We wouldn't want to get caught in an explosion as we were walking around the showground.
Oh, is that what you think is going to happen, is it?
I mean, hey, anything can happen, Iris. Literally anything can happen. Let's see. Let's go back to the prison and see.
How could this have happened?
You must feel awful, as well as a man losing his life. The Crystal Tower is greatly damaged too.
I know what happened. It must have been that.
That?
The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is.
For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Yep, poor man. It's been so mad.
Ah, fascinating, yes.
In Japan, where I come from, it's a symbol of a defense lawyer. Wearing it is very bracing, I find.
Your words make some sense to me, but they are entirely illogical.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, I find this white laboratory coat that I wear for my work very bracing too. However, in my case, there was a perfectly logical reason for that feeling.
Oh, really? What is it?
I purchased the wrong size by mistake. This one is too small for me. The sleeves, especially, are extremely bracing. I can barely move my wrists.
That's what you call logical, isn't it?
Of course, it's entirely logical. That's science, Mr. Naruto.
Is there anything else I could talk about? The victim. Okay, I need to take a look at the court record to be sure. Oh, I think I have to ask him about Aspen. Yeah, that's right. Let me look at the court record one time. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, oh my god, these people are suffering. Why does he have gray hair already? He's already 34. Let's go back to the Lord Chief Justice. Let's see this. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course. No, not that. The story on the back page. What story? Forgot to ask him. The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zinks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does. Strangely. Fortunately, Lord Van Zinks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter. But that's incredible! They were armed with guns! Why was he attacked, though? Do we know? It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zinks. But the man was acquitted, and no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seemed. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seem to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman, Mr. O.D. Asman. Did you say Asman?
That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal investigation organization. Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart?
Try me.
Why do you use Lord Van Six as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Six first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here.
I have Van Ziek's work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials have nothing to do with him.
But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand?
Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. He will continue to prosecute on behalf of the crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course.
Ooh. Steep.
Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement.
Oh, finally you have another engagement. You just stand around while I went to go talk to the prisoner.
I'm already 11 hours and 60 minutes late. My colleagues must be starting to fidget.
11 hours late? That's quite something.
That meeting had already started. I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man.
I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now?
I would assume he's at his office.
Right. I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth.
Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands.
Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. Well, you heard the man. We gotta go. Here we go. I just like how he literally has all his wine glasses right here and the bottles. Like, how many does he bring to court and how much does this cost? Because Lord Jesus Christ in heaven, that's a lot.
Oh, this is the legendary Reaper's office?
Yes, it appears so.
It sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deadly atmosphere.
Oh, is that? Oh, that hooded figure was so still, I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? Ha! He's as welcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're doing well.
I am.
So, who's the person over there by the wall? Being punished for something or other?
No punishment is taking place here.
Oh. That's my apprentice. And he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers?
The Reaper. I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself, assuming that he's such a fabled fiend that genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Oh boy, here we go. Lord Stronger had said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True, carried out by henchmen of Odie Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation that their arrests were imminent, presumably someone to kill me for that happened. Odie Asmon. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. And his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means via his criminal activities.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death. I know about that.
It was super high voltage instantaneous and it's gone wrong. Mr. Asmon died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least. It's strange how this worked out, isn't it, Reno? I mean, what with you taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him?
Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest.
Albert Harebrain.
That's right. Do you know him by any chance?
Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together.
You're... What?
I want to see what happens if I show him my badge. I mean my armband.
I know you've seen this around my arm before, but
what is it exactly?
It's the mark of a defense lawyer. In Japan, at least.
Well, what's your reason for showing it to a British prosecutor?
Oh, well, I don't know, really.
I can understand at least. There's merit in reminding yourself of who helped you become what you are today.
Oh.
But that's a personal matter. Something you may want to keep close at all times. Not something to flaunt.
No, I suppose not. Thank you for understanding that.
Oh, that was an achievement. Okay, let's go back to the case.
I understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though.
Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research. That's all.
So you were students together?
I was in the Faculty of Law, of course, and he in Science, so our paths are rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form, and with you of all people representing him.
Only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems.
Yes, I know, because the prosecution will be handled by me.
By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends.
We are friends, it's true.
Then why would you do this? If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed! Doomed! What's Lord Van Ziek's thinking? What do you mean by what you said before?
If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean I'm a crown prosecutor and a mortal like any other? I'm no demigod.
But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest riches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them.
But that's not true of Richard Natsume, for example.
He wasn't a vile wretch at all.
No, it was Jenny. In fact, she's ever so hardworking now.
I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it is the hand of their own kind. It's not my work.
Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true.
The fact is, since people started calling me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh,
It would appear that even those hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
do you mean to say?
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor.
But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed.
If that is my fate, let God decide.
Lord Van Zeeks.
You brave soul. You brave, brave soul.
Lord Van Zeeks, about the article in this paper.
Ah, yes. It seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it?
Also, I just realized those bats. Oh my god, that scared me. As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him?
No. He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Ah, like you are too early then, Bruno.
I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective. He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask.
Of course, there's a new virus coming around called Spanish flu. You should know about it. On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity.
But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
I'm suspicious myself. I'm a bit sus. Lord Strongheart's orders again. He is not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions.
I hope you're right.
Oh god, that's like horrifying. Ah! The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs.
nice to meet you. Bye. Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet, somehow, it didn't feel like our first encounter.
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Our strong heart has strictly forbidden it.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway?
Oh no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. Could it?
Ah, yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
That Nipponese man, is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago, with the stoop and the mustache and the jitters.
Ah, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identify him from that list, Runo.
He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day.
I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case.
Yes, thank you for the advice. And for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Soseki-san. After a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried.
I never imagined that Mr. Reba would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist? Ah, you mean Professor Harebrain? Yes. It might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zeeks, I think. And that's going to be a conversation for next time. Okay, I think this could be a good place to stop because it's 7:30 and I'm getting pretty hungry right now. So we'll take a break here. I'll go here. Yeah, start here. Yeah. Alright guys, so that was pretty good. Oh, thanks Mustang. Oh, you're welcome. I didn't know if you were still there. I probably should have asked if you were still in the chat. So yeah, that was my very first stream on Twitch, and hopefully there's gonna be a lot more to come. This is very strange for me to be doing, but I did enjoy it, and glad you enjoyed it too, Mustang. So I will be back possibly tomorrow at the same time, maybe a bit earlier, around 5 o'clock. We'll see. And I will be doing the same game. And I will do other variety, but I do want to continue this trial because I'm actually remembering some of the little details, and I'm getting reinvested all over again. So yeah, thank you everyone who joined, and thank you for following. I hope to see you guys tomorrow, and on that, I'll see you later.